So the recording is started. Last time we learnt about pointer arithmetic, how pointer arithmetic is different from integer arithmetic, and the relationship between pointers and arrays. Have you any questions regarding that? Differences between, not differences, but relationship between pointers and arrays. Have you guys got any questions? No. Okay. So how many of you tried accessing arrays with pointers since yesterday? Very good. One. Okay. One's already better than zero. Two. Good. Three. Nice. Okay. Very good. So you guys also you haven't got any questions? Good. None of you faced any errors or anything else, any problems? Okay. Nobody's answering, so as I said, I'll assume that everything is fine with everybody. If that is the case, then we can move forward and let us see how can we pass arrays as arguments to functions. Okay. So far we have passed variables by copy to a function. We have passed variables by reference to a function. We have passed addresses of variables, pointers by copy, by value to a function. And now let us see how does C, C++ languages pass arrays to a function. Okay. So for that, let's go to the screen and see that what is the program we've got. Okay, so this is between pointers and arrays. So we'll keep it here and we'll basically copy this function to okay. So we'll be passing arrays to this function. So before we pass arrays to functions, let us see what do we know about arrays. So what are arrays? What are arrays and what do we use them for? This is a question which you guys should be able to answer. Any of you can either type in chat or unmute your mic and speak. To store data. Now let us take the definition. This definition is not correct because all variables are used to store data. Okay. So if you write this definition in answer to my question in exam, which is specifically about arrays, then this answer would be considered not correct. Okay. List used to group elements of the same data type. Okay, we don't use the word list because in computer science list is another thing, but okay, let's say we have arrays can be used to group elements of the same data type together. Okay, how are they stored in RAM? These elements of the same data type. Are they stored next to each other, or are they stored spread out in RAM? Collection of data is also kind of vague, but let's say we can declare multiple variables of the same type using an array. Okay, they are grouped together, and in RAM they are stored next to each other. Okay, contiguously. Very good. So store at different memory location next to each other. Okay, very good. Okay, so the key point is that they are all next to each other. So if we know the array of the address of one element in the array, we can calculate the address of any other element in the array, because we will know the size of each element, and if you know the index of the element and address of one element, then you can increment or decrement that address to get the addresses of all the other elements of the array. Okay, so the size of the array is fixed. Okay, so size of the array should be a constant, and it should be known at compile time. Okay, so at compile time, the compiler should know the size of the array that we are going to declare, which means the number of elements, how many number of elements should there be in the array. So this should be some expression which we should be able to calculate at compile time. Okay, so let us go ahead and do something here. Let's say I do here, let's say we remember the size of operator, which could tell us the size of the variable in RAM, how many bytes this variable is taking in RAM. So if we apply the size of operator to this array and its elements, so let us see out size of AI equals, and we'll also print the size of each of its elements. Okay? So we'll print the size of one element to size of AIC. So we are printing the size of AI and each element of AI, and we do the same for AC. And we print the size of each element of AC as well. So let us see what happens if we compile and run this program. Error. Sizes of, okay, I mistyped the name of the function. So, okay, that's good. And if we run this program, we'll see that. So for an array, if we apply size of on an array, then size of will return us how many bytes that array would take in RAM. Okay, so what will be the size of that array in RAM? Okay? So AI is an array of integer, an array of 5 integers, and assuming each element is of 4 bytes, so this array is taking 20 bytes in total in RAM. Okay? And the size of one element of that array, one element of that array AI is an integer, so size of returns 4, which means each integer is taking 4 bytes in RAM. The second array AC is an array of characters. Again, since AC is an array of 5 characters, it is taking 5 bytes in RAM. Okay, so size of AC returns 5 because size of each character is 1 byte. Okay, as we can see here in size of AC0 is equal to 1. Okay? So each character is taking 1 byte in RAM. Is this code clear to everybody? The size of operator, is it clear to all of you others? What does the size of do, and what does the size of do when we apply size of to a variable or to an array? Good. So assuming there is no, so I'm assuming it is clear to everybody. So let's proceed and pass arrays to functions. Let's say we want to declare a function which will find the maximum value in an integer array. Okay. So one of you, I'll request a volunteer who should unmute themselves and guide me in writing this function. So I'm telling you the description of the function. We want a function which should take an array and return us the maximum value in that array. Okay, it will take an array of integers and it will return an integer which should be the maximum value in that array. Okay, so it will find the maximum value in the array and return it to us. So who is going to unmute and help me write this function? Please, volunteers, step up. Come on. Nobody?
Sir, I can try.
Sure.
So first,
So we start by writing what?
you start by writing the use int num, the
Why
data
do we write int? What is int
int,
here?
int is the data type, the return type of the function.
Very good. So the return type of the function we write first of all, and you are saying that this return type should be int. How did you come to this conclusion that this return type should be an int?
Because we have an array of integers and we're trying to identify the greatest value in that. So the final answer will be an integer.
Very good. Okay, so we are taking an integer array as an input, and we are going to find the maximum value in that array, and that value must be an integer. Okay, so we have to return an integer. Very good. So I write the return type int. Next.
And then num, any name for a function.
Acha. Names, you said we can name it num. Now,
Yes.
one thing, it is not specific for this case, but in general, what you guys should do is that the names of things should reflect their function. Okay, so a function that is finding a maximum value in an array, naming it num is basically not a very good idea, because you are not, the name of the function is not giving any information to the user.
Right.
This num value name num, it will not convey any useful information.
Uh,
So we
so
should name things in such a way that names should reflect the functions. Like the name of the variable should indicate what is its use, what kind of value is it storing. Similarly, name of function should reflect what this function is doing. Okay. So what can be a useful name for such a function?
we can call it greatest or max. Maybe max underscore num.
Okay, max underscore num. That's much better than num. Okay,
You're right. Yeah.
very good. Next,
And then we open brackets.
parenthesis, curly, square,
The normal ones, the
round
bracket.
ones.
Yeah, the round ones. Yes.
Okay, here you go.
And we take the array. So int array.
Int.
uh,
The name of the variable should be array.
Yes, the name can
Okay.
be array, and then open square brackets, open and close.
Square brackets, open and close. Then
Yes, and then there has to be a not a semicolon, just a normal colon.
a, a comma, you mean, or colon?
Sorry, yeah, comma, yes.
Okay.
And then int
Int
size,
size. And then
and then close the round parentheses,
okay.
and then next line, curly braces,
Next line, curly braces.
and then enter,
Enter.
like, and then um, once
I'll
you
close this curly brackets and then I'll continue. Yes, please.
right, and then uh, we can define a variable int greatest equals 0, and then we can we can create a for loop, so for and then open brackets, and then int I is equal to 0. uh, Actually, sir, before the for loop, can we please set greatest equal to array index 0, and then int I is equal to 1, and then yes, and then int I is equal to 1 semicolon, I is less than size, and then I plus plus, close parentheses, and then next line, and then open and close curly braces, and then we do an if condition inside. If greatest if greatest is equal to the equal to twice, no, not the equal to, if greatest is if no, not greatest, sorry, if array I index I
Hmm?
is greater than greatest, close parentheses, and then next line, new curly braces, open and close, yes, and then if the element, and then that means array I is equal to, or array I is assigned the, oh no, sorry, the greatest is assigned the value of array I.
Greatest will find the value of. Oops, sorry.
Yes, and then yeah, and then at the end we can we exit the for loop and the if condition,
Hmm?
and at the end we write return greatest. I think that should be it. Um, yes, sir, I
Very
think
good.
that's it.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
Thank you, sir.
Others, do you guys follow this code? Our function is receiving the an array and its size. Okay. And we are using a for loop to traverse this array. We are comparing each element of the array to the value greatest. So if the value of an array element is greater than greatest, this means our greatest number is not the greatest, okay, because array element I is greater than greatest. So at that point we will store the value of that array element in the greatest, okay. So eventually throughout the array, whatever greatest value we find which is greater than greatest, it will become the greatest, okay. So by the time we reach the end of the array, we will have the greatest value stored in the variable greatest.
So can you please repeat this?
So let me go line by line again. So our function in this line number 4, when it will be called, it will receive an array of integers. Okay, an array of integers, and it will receive the size of array. The size of array basically is the number of elements in the array. Okay, so once we receive the array and the number of elements in the array, what we will do, we will traverse this array. By traversing, I mean we will look at each element of the array. Okay? We'll look at each element of the array and we will see its value compared to this value greatest. This value greatest, in the start, we have assigned it the first element of the array. Again, at this, you can see at line 20, we have this array of integers. So let's say this is the array that has been passed to our function. Okay? This array that has been passed, and the size value contains 5, which is number of elements in this array ai. Okay, on line number 20. So if our function receives this array, then in line number 6, we are storing the value of the first element of the array. In this our example, it would be the value 33. We'll take the value 33 and store it in a temporary variable called greatest. Okay, so at the start of our for loop, the greatest variable will contain the value of the first element of the array, and then we run a for loop from 1 to less than size, which means it will take up, and I will take value from 1 to 4, and we take the value inside every iteration. We take the value of the array element ai. So ai will start from a1, it will go to a2, then a3, then a4 in all these iterations, and it will look at each element in the array and compare the value of this element to the value in the variable greatest. Okay, so if the value of this array element is smaller than the value greatest, which means the value greatest, value in the variable greatest is greater than the array element, so compared to this element, the value is still greatest. Okay, so we do nothing if the value of the array element is smaller than greatest. So this condition will become false, and we will skip the if statement and we'll go to the next iteration of for loop. But however, if the value of this array element is greater than the value greatest, okay, since we are trying to find the max element in the array, so if the value of an array element is greater than the greatest, this would mean that the greatest variable does not store the maximum value in the array. Okay, because we have at least found one element, this array ai, which is greater than the greatest. Okay, so if this is the case, this condition will become true, and in that case, we will replace the older value in the greatest, which is smaller, by this element, this value in the array element ai, because we have the if condition has just verified that this value in the array element array I is greater than the greatest. Okay, so we'll update our greatest value to this value in this element array I, and then we'll go to the next iteration of for loop. Okay, to compare this new greatest value to the next array element. Okay. Similarly, this greatest value we compare to every array element, and by the end of the array, the really greatest value in the whole array will be stored in this variable greatest. So if we run this example on this array I, on line number 6, this value 33 will be stored in the greatest. So when for loop starts, it starts from I is equal to 1. So if condition on line number 9 will compare array value array 1, which is 66, to the value in the greatest, which is 33. Okay, so 66 is greater than 33. If condition will become true, and the line number 11 will store the value 66 in greatest. Okay, so now the greatest variable contains the value 66. We'll come out of the if loop, if condition, and next iteration of for loop will make I is equal to 2. So again, if condition on line number 9 will compare array A2 element, which is 0, to greatest, which is 66 now. Okay, so 0 is not greater than 66. So if condition will become false, and we will not go inside if condition. and we'll again go to next iteration of for loop where I will become 3. So it will compare, line number 9 will compare array 3, which is 56, to greatest, which is 66. Again, 56 is not greater than 66. So we will again skip the if body and go to next iteration of for loop, which will make size equal to, I equal to 4. So line number 9 will again compare A4, which is 3, to greatest, which is 66. So again, this condition will become false. We'll skip the if body and check the increment I and check the for loop condition, which will basically I will become now 5 and 5 is less than 5, size also 5. This condition will become false and for loop will end. Okay. So now we have traversed the whole array and the variable greatest contains the maximum value in the array, which is 66. So here in line number 15 we will return the greatest value. Is it clear to everybody? Okay, so if it is clear to everybody, then we'll run and we'll see if Muhammad Fareh did it correctly or not. So if, let's say, is AI, what was it called? It was called maxnum, I think. Maxnum, yes. Maxnum, and we pass it AI and 5. Size is 5. It will call maxnum with AI array and the size 5, and maxnum will ultimately return the greatest value, which cout will print out to the terminal screen console. So let's go ahead. Okay, no compilation error. And if we run, max value in array is 66. Very good, Muhammad Rafi. Fareh, sorry. I'm sorry, Fareh. Okay, so anybody got any questions?
Sir,
Yes.
if you want to find the first three largest numbers, how we will do that?
We'll come to this question sometime later. This is a question related to algorithms. I think in next semester or the semester after that, you will have this course on data structures and algorithm. Okay. So we
Okay.
will be discussing that in those lectures. Right now, we are focusing on how to use arrays and passing arrays as arguments to a function. The actual detail of the algorithms are not really important. We are focusing on syntax right now. Okay? So if you have any questions about syntax right now, how to pass arrays to a function. Just type cout inside the loop. No, we are not talking about 3 max numbers. Right now, let us pass arrays as arguments to the function. Scroll down. Okay, let us scroll down. Here you go. Make it full screen to see if it makes things better. That's better, I think. Any questions? Okay, so let's say if I was doing
सर
this, yes.
आज हमने जो लैब में टास्क किए सर वो और क्लास बिल्कुल आपस में मिलते जुलते नहीं है सर। यानी कि सर क्लास
In
में आप एक रिलेशंस करते हो और उधर लैब में बहुत मुश्किल से क्वेश्चंस मिलते हैं सर। अगर उनमें से आप एक समझा दें सर तो बहुत अच्छा होगा।
no, here I'm teaching you syntax and how to use things. In labs, even if you're not able to finish the task in the lab, you can ask the instructor for permission for a day or something to spend more time on the task and try to do it at home. So if I remember correctly, what were the tasks in today's lab? There was that equation that you have to solve, like something divided by x factorial, 2 hours only. Okay, I'll talk to them. I'll talk to them. 2 hours are not for today's lab. 2 hours were not enough at all. That I agree. Okay, 2 hours I agree. Anything else? The task you should, try to find ways in which you can achieve that task. Give me an example. What was the task? One of the tasks in today's lab. I've forgotten. They've showed me, but I forgot. Oh, but what was task 3? Okay, this formatting I think is not. But I think yeah, this task I remember: x divided by 1 factorial, x cubed divided by 3 factorial, x5 divided by 5 factorial, etc. So this task, you guys know how to calculate powers. If I give you x, can you calculate x square, x cube, x4, etc.? Okay, so you can calculate powers. Can you calculate factorial? No, 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 not include math library. You can calculate powers yourself only. If I give you x, how can you calculate x cube?
So by using for loop?
By using for loop or by using multiplication? You can use multiplications. Okay. Ozair, if you paste such things here, it's not very helpful. These code dumps here. So, okay, so you guys can calculate.
कॉपी करके आप भी पेस्ट कर देना सर, फिर इसको एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं।
No, 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 I'm not going to explain your code here. No, no, no. I'm just going to explain the method, how you can do it. Once you know the method, converting into code, that you should be able to do yourselves. So I'm telling you the method step by step. So if you guys can calculate powers like x square, x cube, x to the power 4 given x, that you should be able to do using multiplication or within for loop, as Saleh has said. Okay, so you can multiply x as many times as the power. Okay? If you can calculate powers, can you calculate factorials given a number n? Can you calculate a factorial? N factorial? Yes, okay. So if you can calculate factorials and if you can calculate powers. So in this question, you have fraction, the upper half of the fraction, the numerator is a power, and the lower half is a factorial. So once you have the power and the factorial, you can divide them to get the value of the fraction. Okay, and then you just have to add those fractions. Okay, so if you break this question into different parts and different steps, technically it is not very difficult. You just have to be calm and think through it. Yeah, so if you have odd powers and odd factorial, then you only have to start your loop with 1 and less than n, I is equal to 1, I less than n, and I plus equal to 2, I is equal to I plus 2. Instead of I is equal to I plus 1, you do I is equal to I plus 2. So first iteration of the loop I will be 1, second iteration of the loop I will be 3, third iteration of the loop I will be 5. Okay, so this way you can do it for all odd values of I. Okay, yeah, you can calculate factorials and numbers separately, and factorials and powers separately, and then you can combine them to solve the question that you guys had. So I think you guys should be able to do it. The time, I agree, time was not enough, but the difficulty or the level of the question should be doable by your current knowledge, whatever you know by now. Okay? And here one task he asked you guys was to make functions for factorial and power. Okay, that also is good advice because you can divide your tasks into subtasks, and each task could be done within a function. Okay, and you can then call those functions to perform those subtasks. Okay, so I don't remember the first two questions, but let's leave the lab and come back to our topic, what we are discussing right now. Otherwise, we will not be able to complete what we started. I basically wanted to focus or bring to your attention a couple of things. Whoever is talking, can you please unmute yourself, or let me unmute you? Thank you. Okay, so what I am basically, bringing to your attention is that when we pass arrays to a function, so if I calculate the size of this array AI here in size of AI. Okay, and then we can do the same stuff inside the function. Because what I'm trying to basically bring your attention to is that, okay, let's comment this and we will see, we'll do it another way. What Mohammad Fareh proposed was that we pass the array to a function, and he's also passing the size of the function, size of the array to the function. So what would happen if I only pass the array to a function and not its size? Let's say I calculate the size here, in size is equal to size of array divided by size of array 0. This line number 8. Do you guys know this technique to calculate the size of an array, the number of elements in an array? No. Okay. So let's see. We can. Okay. What we'll do is we'll basically comment this, and we'll see the size of array size of AI in main is equal to this, and size of an element. Okay, so is line number 27 clear to everybody? I am printing the size of the array and size of one element of the array. Okay, so if this is clear to you guys, then we'll run it. Size of array, none, size of array. So size of array function array will return size of int pointer. Okay, it's a warning, it's not an array. Yeah, it's not an error. So our program has compiled. We'll come to this warning soon, but let me run this program to see. Okay, size of AI in main is 20 and size of each element is 4. Okay? So if I want to calculate the number of elements in the array, what do I have to do? I can basically divide the size of this array by the size of one element of the array, and this will give me the number of elements in the array AI. See out. Sorry. Okay, so I can calculate the number of elements of the array by dividing the total size of the array by size of each element in the array. So this should give me the size of number of elements in the array. Okay, so array AI has 5 elements. So what if I do the same inside the function? I do not need to pass the number of elements in the array, and I try to calculate the size of the array using this same formula. We divide the size of the array divided by size of each one element of the array. Okay, size, we can do this, and then we can basically copy paste this one. Okay. So what will happen if we basically call this function again, and this time without passing it this size, because we are calculating the size and number of elements from the size of the array and the size of each element of the array inside the function array. So okay, so I hope line number 10 is clear to everybody. From line number 8, we have calculated the number of elements in the array by dividing size of array by size of one element of the array. So if I run this program here, again warning, and we'll come to this warning right now. If I run this program, okay. So in main, the size of AI is 20, the size of each element is 4, and AI has 5 elements. Okay, that's correct. Inside the function, the size of array is it's not in main, it's in the function. Okay, this is a typo. The size of array is 8. In main, the same array size was 20. It had 5 elements, so 5 into 4, 20 was correct. But inside the function, it says the size of array is 8. Okay, and it has only 2 elements. So why is it giving us this thing? Okay, let me open side by side. No, it was not correct. So it's not in size here, it should be maximum. Okay. So line number 6, it says size of array is 8. Why is it doing so? We are calculating the size of the array by using the same formula here on line number 8. It gives us 8. It gives us 2. And if we use the same formula here in main, line number 30, size of AI divided by size of one element of AI, it's giving us 5. Why do you guys think there's this discrepancy? The same array in main, it calculates the size correctly, the size of operator, but inside the function, it gives us an incorrect size. Slightly related to scope, but not much related to scope. Scope also we'll study in the next class perhaps, what is scope. But it has something to do with, no, not memory leak. Memory leak again is something that we have not studied yet. Array was declared inside main, that's correct. So what effect does this have? It has something to do with pointers and passing arrays to functions. Let me rewrite this function again. Okay, we'll quit this. So we'll basically open in one window again. So I'm taking the same function, Muhammad Fareh, your function, and this time we will call it num2. And instead of passing it an array like this, we'll pass here a pointer and size. Okay. So this is my function max num2. Okay. I'm saying it will receive a pointer and an integer size, and then this pointer, I'm using this pointer as an array. Okay, so what we will do is we will basically do it like this. Array, it's a pointer, so plus 0. The earlier notation was also correct, but this basically, just to emphasize the point, we'll write it like this. Okay, and here also. Okay. So we are basically receiving this pointer and we are getting the value whose address is stored in that pointer by dereferencing that pointer and storing it in greatest, and then we will be incrementing or adding I to this pointer every iteration and dereference the resulting value. And the same goes here. And then we'll return greatest. So if I here instead of, I'll basically move this one also, and instead of calling maxnum, we'll call maxnum2. So what do you guys think would be the result? Too few orders. So we have to, maxnum2 is taking 2 arguments, okay? The array as well as the size. So we'll pass the size also here. And let's, instead of passing 5 directly, let's recalculate it. Size of AI divided by size of AI. So it will evaluate to 5 and we'll pass 5 to a maximum to as size. Okay, warning will come to warning, but if I run a, you see it again returns 66. So max num2 is also working correctly. Okay. So this is exactly the same function as max num, almost. The working is the same. So is it clear to you guys how the max num2 from line 24 to line 36, how is it working? It's doing exactly the same thing as max num, the original function by Mohammad Fareh. I will mail it to you, but it's not complicated. It is basically accessing the array using a pointer. Remember in last class we said that we can also use pointers to access elements of the array. Okay, and I also said that the name of the array is what? The name of the array is or what does the name of the array contains? What value does it contain? The name of the array? Come on, it was only yesterday, so you would not have forgotten it. The name of the array contains the address of the first element of the array. Okay, so the name of the array is a pointer to the first element of the array. Okay, so if you look at this function on line 24 num2, it is receiving a pointer of integer type. Okay, and here on line 43, I am passing it AI as the first argument. AI is the name of the array, and the name of the array is pointer to the first element of the array. Okay, so this AI contains the address of the first element of the array. Therefore, this pointer array on line 24, it receives the address of the first element of the array. Okay, so if I dereference this array, which is address of the first element of the array, I'll get the value of the first element of the array, okay, which I store in greatest. Similarly, in every iteration, I do array plus I. Array is a pointer and I is an integer. And by pointer arithmetic, you know that if I add 1 to an integer pointer, it will be incremented, its value will be incremented by 4. Okay, So array plus 1 will give me the address of the next element of the array, and array plus 2 will give me the address of the third element of the array, and array plus 3 will give me the address of the fourth element of the array. So all these addresses which I get in all subsequent iterations, I dereference them to get the value of that particular element of the array. Okay, and then similarly, just like as we were doing with array I in square brackets. Okay, and then we compare all these values of the elements to greatest, and if any value is greater than greatest, we store it in greatest. Okay, so this function is essentially the same function as maxnum. Is the clarification any better? Is line 31 dereferencing? What is line 31? Line 31 is, yes, this part, the star here is dereferencing. Okay, array plus I will give me the address of the ith element of the array. Okay, and when I dereference that address, I'll get the value of the ith element of the array. Okay, so the right side of the assignment operator is dereferencing the address of the ith element of the array. I understand this maxnum too. Kindly elaborate why the previous method of putting size of operator directly in the function wasn't working. Okay, so if this is clear, then the point where I wanted to bring you guys was that in C and subsequently in C++, arrays are not passed as normal variables are passed. Okay, arrays are passed through pointers. Okay, arrays are passed through pointers. So when we pass an array, the function does not receive the whole array. The argument of the function and the definition, it does not receive the whole array. It receives a pointer to an array. Okay, so pointer to an array is basically the pointer to the first element of the array. Okay, so this, in technical terms, we call this that when we pass an array as an argument to a function, it decays to a pointer. Okay, the array passed in the argument decays to a pointer. So we call it array to pointer decay. Okay, in C and C++. So when an array is passed as an argument to a function, it decays into a pointer. Okay? That's why inside the function, when we write size of array, it is not treating array the pointer array as an array. It is treating the argument array as a pointer. Okay, so size of basically returns you the size of the pointer. Okay? And pointers on these modern machines are 64-bit values. Okay, so 64 bits is 8 bytes. That's why we receive 8 as size of that pointer. Okay, so now if I go to here, maxnum, you see here basically size of array, this size of on line number 6 to this size of this array variable is not an array, it's a pointer. Okay, so it will return you the size of the pointer, not the size of the array. So it returns me 8 because each pointer is 64 bits. So when I divide this size of array, which is size of the pointer, divided by size of each element, which is an integer, so size of pointer will return me 8 and size of integer will return me 4. So 8 divided by 4, size equal to 2. Okay, so that's why inside a function, we cannot use the operator size of to calculate the size of the array that has been passed as our argument to that function. Okay, so this is the reason, since arrays decay to a pointer inside a function, so the function has no way of calculating the size of the array. Therefore, in C and C++, whenever we pass an array to a function, we also have to pass the size of the array as a second argument. The number of elements of the array, you have to pass it as a second argument. Even if you read this warning, if I compile it again, you see this warning here, it says on line number 6, warning, size of on array function parameter. We have a function parameter which is an array, okay, will return the size of integer pointer. Okay, it will not return the size of the array. Okay, so the compiler is also telling us that there is something wrong that we are doing, most probably. Okay, so it's declared as an array, but it will be treated as a pointer. Okay, that's why whenever we want to pass an array to a function, we have to pass its size as a second argument. Okay, otherwise the function has no way of knowing how many elements there are inside that array. So that's how we pass arrays as arguments to functions. Is it clear to everybody? So if array declares into a pointer, what is the value of array 0 inside the function? So array decays to a pointer, and that pointer contains the address of the first element of the array. And this statement array 0 in brackets is exactly equal to, okay, here write me in comments, array 0 is exactly equal to star array plus 0. Oops, sorry. Okay. So internally, the compiler will transform this array 0 notation, this notation into this notation. Okay. So this is just another fancy way of accessing the elements of the array. Both ways are exactly equivalent. You can use any of the methods. Here also, like this, we had, I can also replace this. Let me make it num3. Okay, so num3, we are passing a pointer, but using this pointer, we'll use this pointer as the notation that we just discussed. Array 0, here also we'll make it array I. And same here. Okay, so when you have a pointer, if you want to add some value to this pointer, you can either use this notation, array with square brackets and the value that you want to add, or you can use this notation as we used in num2, array plus I. They are all equivalent. Okay, here also num3, we are receiving a pointer, but then we are using this pointer as an array. Okay, so in this way, these methods are interchangeable. So I'll just recompile it again. This time with num3. You see, num3 is also giving me exactly the same behavior. So these methods, like this line number 6, array I in square brackets or array plus I dereferenced, these two notations are exactly equivalent. Okay. Any other question? Okay, so if you have any questions, you can bring it up in the next class, because some people are getting late for the prayers. So we can discuss it like at ease in our Thursday class. Okay, so Muhammad Farid, this question you can repeat it in the next class, and we'll discuss it thoroughly. Okay, so you guys can mark your attendance here, and I'll stop the recording.